What's up, YouTube? KS Gun Guy here. Thanks for joining me today, as always. So, in our Wednesday night chats with 1776 Robust and Big Johnson Guns and Gear, we talk about a wide variety of firearm-related topics, and one of the topics that comes up quite often, and really almost every Wednesday, is concealed carry, or everyday carry, EDC, you might call it. And within the scope of those conversations, I've started to notice a pattern, especially with the folks that join us. There are, generally speaking, 40 or 50 people that are on that chat. We want to see that grow, of course. But I've started to notice some patterns with certainly sizes of firearms that people carry. So I've got a couple of examples here to go over with you guys, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the advantages and disadvantages of each. Not only from a concealed carry standpoint, but just an overall standpoint. So I've got the Walther PPS M2 here, a very popular single stack firearm. Now with single stack firearms, they have a couple of really good advantages. One of the biggest advantages being size, and you'll notice that the PPS is going to fall right around an inch, and there are some single stacks that fall under an inch, including firearms like the cars, that sort of thing. So diminutive in size for sure, and they range in weight anywhere from, believe it or not, 15 or 16 ounces and going up to 22 or 23 ounces for some of the heavier ones, with the PPS being one of the heavier ones as well. Now, with the round counter capacity, this is where single stack firearms do fall a little bit short, although not a bad thing in my opinion. This flat-based magazine is going to be a 6-round. Now, you can get some extended magazines going to 7 rounds, 8 rounds, that sort of thing, and certainly some opportunities to carry some backup magazines, which is great. But that means with single-stack firearms, you're going to sacrifice one for the other. You're going to sacrifice round capacity, or capacity really, for size and comfort. Now, one of the nice things about a lot of the single stack firearms, including things guns like the Smith & Wesson Shield and the PPS, they are still very shootable guns, which is great. But again, sacrificing some of that size for round capacity, and also to a degree your recoil absorption and your muzzle flip, especially as you get into some of the smaller firearms, including guns like 6-hour 938s, things like that. Great guns, but very, very small, and perhaps a little bit more challenging to manage while you're shooting. Now, when we get into subcompact firearms, this is the HK VP9SK. Subcompact firearms are going to be a little bit different. One of the biggest things being, of course, the round count, and this flat-based magazine is going to be a 10 round. So subcompacts, generally speaking, fall somewhere in the 10 to 12 round mark, if I can get this back in. Of course, my hands are wrapped around the camera. Another thing about these subcompact firearms, you're really looking at more of a full-size firearm in terms of its at least width. And in this case, most subcompact firearms are going to fall somewhere in the 1 to 1.4 inch width, and you're also going to gain a little bit of weight as well. Now, the Glock 26 being a little bit of an exception, being, I believe, right around 20 ounces, something like that. Can't remember off the top of my head. Correct me in the comments if you will. But most subcompacts are going to be anywhere 21 to 23 ounces, believe it or not. So definitely a little bit more weight on that, but you do get a little bit more grip on the gun, although still my pinky is hanging off with this flat-based magazine. But certainly very shootable at the range, because you've got a little bit more weight, a little bit more to grab onto, and a couple of more rounds as well. Now, when we get into a compact size firearm here, and this is going to be the CZP-10C, we're talking about getting into the compact or even full-size firearms where you have a full grip on the gun, for sure. Now, from a size standpoint, really, between the subcompact and the compact firearms, you're looking at relatively the same, at least from a width standpoint. Most compacts, again, falling somewhere in the 1 to 1.4 inches wide, and of course, it can vary just a little bit by gun, but generally speaking there. But you're also going to gain a little bit more weight, somewhere, generally speaking, in the 22 to 27 ounce range. So a little bit more weight, but that also translates for a lot of people into a little bit more shootability at the range, because you can control that muzzle flip and recoil a little bit better with that added weight. And then you get into round count, we're starting to talk about somewhere between 14 and 17 rounds, generally speaking, depending on what gun it is, and this one happens to be a 15-round magazine in here. So at the end of the day, it's kind of an interesting topic, and the question of the day for this video is, what size firearm do you carry and why? Do you carry a single-stack firearm, a subcompact firearm, or a compact or even full-size firearm? I'm really curious to know, and wanted to bring this question to the masses. It's been a lot of fun to talk about on Wednesday nights, and be sure to join us there. But I wanted to see what you guys thought and kind of aggregate a poll, if you will. So be sure to leave a comment and let me know what you think and what you currently carry and why. I'm looking forward to that. Otherwise, thanks for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Thanks.